Welcome back to the channel and to the player power rankings, where I am filling that second lock spot on this video. The second one of those big brutes that's in the engine room. And yeah, I've got another great list of 10 players ranked from 10 to 1 in the world based on current and recent form. And the last time I did this was the Rugby World Cup. Based on historic form, their entire body of work at international level, and based on a bit of gut feeling as well, which is where opinion comes in. It'd be boring without it, wouldn't it? I'm going to give you mine. I want you to give me yours in the comments down below. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers. I have done a video for the front row and the first of the locks. Those are in the channel right now. So hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos that are coming up soon on this. And yeah, I've termed this position the loose head lock, which isn't really an official name for it, is it? But I had to find a way to separate the two second rows. And you know what? World Rugby make up a load of rules that are ridiculous and stupid and not needed. World Rugby could just make it a bit simpler by standardising the numbers of jerseys. Because when we get to the loose forwards, South Africa and France complicate it, don't they, by having their open side flanker wearing number 6, whereas the rest of the world, they wear number 7. Same goes in the second row. I think England and France, maybe a couple of others, they have their big brute unit, the guy that scrummages behind the tight head prop, they have him wearing number 5, whereas pretty much the rest of the world, they go with the number 4 for that one. So anyway, it's a load of good second rows is what I've got for you. Your comments down below. I'm starting at number 10 with Federico Ruzza, one of 4 players that are going down in this list. There are 4 players going up. There are 2 players staying exactly where they are. There is 1 new face on this top 10, and part of that is because Sam Whitelock is a player that is no longer on this list as well. Federico Ruzza, class player for Italy. I don't think it was a coincidence that he played 80 minutes in the 2 matches in the Six Nations that Italy won, those games against Scotland and Wales. He's got a massive engine. He's played a lot of rugby this season, and he usually, pretty much always, plays 80 minutes when he does play. Yeah, good player. Number 10. There are some guys, and I'm just thinking actually straight away, guys that aren't on this top 10 list, but I expect to be on the top 10 list if they get back to fitness and start playing. Lou Diaka would be one. South African lock. I'm kind of fully expecting it actually, that by the next World Cup he'll be wearing the number 5 jersey. Number 5 in South Africa for the loose head lock. Yeah, I'm fully expecting actually by the next World Cup he'll be in that number 5 jersey once again. Number 9, Cameron Woki. He'll be involved in the next Rugby World Cup, no doubt, because he's only 25. He's probably got a couple more World Cups in him, at least. It surprised me to learn he's only 25 years of age. He's played a lot of rugby. He's got a lot still ahead of him, hasn't he? He made 2 starts in the Six Nations. He made 34 appearances the entire season. A lot of rugby for Racing 92 as well. He's got a bit of a battle between him and Thibaud Flament for the number 4 jersey. Number 4 jersey in France for this position. He's got a bit of a battle on for the number 4 jersey with Flament. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Number 8, a new entry. The 1 new entry into the top 10 in this position for me at least. Tell me if you disagree, if you've got other names that you would include in the comments down below. Scott Cummings. He has had an absolutely brilliant season. Now, at the Rugby World Cup, he was on the bench for Scotland behind Richie Gray and Grant Gilchrist. But he's now probably, yeah, no, he is. He's the first choice lock for Scotland. And that just speaks to what a great season he's had. He was, well, I think he played all but 10 minutes of the Six Nations. A guy that can put in 80-minute performances, big engine, and he put in a massive 80-minute performance in the URC final in Pretoria, where Glasgow Warriors pulled off a famous victory. This guy was immense in that match. Number 8. Number 7, Theo McFarland. Now, he may well not be in this list in the months and years ahead. Not because he's not good enough, but because I think he's going to be almost exclusively a blindside flanker moving forward. That's probably where I would play him. Samoa have been using him as a lock. His skill set is so good. I mean, former basketball player, as every commentator that ever commentates on a Samoa game likes to bring up. Incredible hands, amazing line out forward, athleticism that, yeah, I think it deserves to be in the back row. And I think that's where he started the last 2 games for Samoa, but the bulk of his rugby for Samoa at international level has been in the second row. Hence, he's on this list and he's doing very well at number 7. He's down 1 spot because James Ryan is up a spot. In fact, James Ryan has moved over from... I've moved him over from the tight headlocks, because with Joe McCarthy there, that role seems to be taken almost exclusively by Joe McCarthy for Leinster and for Ireland. And James Ryan, we saw in that game against South Africa, maybe a glimpse of what's going to come in the months and years ahead for Ireland. James Ryan in that number 5 jersey and bossing the line out, rangy running around the park with Tyg Byrne on the blindside flank. With Peter O'Mahony not getting any younger, I think that could be the way to go. James Ryan, it feels like he's back, doesn't it? And such a good player. When he's on form, he's unplayable. It was him and Maro Itoje that were coming through, similar age, coming through at a similar time, and you had in your mind years ago, Ryan and Itoje, they're going to be the Lions' second rows for years to come. James Ryan's playing himself onto the plane if he carries on going the way he is for that tour in Australia next year. He's up to number 6. Thibaud Flament down 1 spot, or down a couple of spots actually, to number 5. A little bit of injury is the cause of that. 2 appearances in the Six Nations because he had a couple of knocks. I mean, he cleaned up and won everything with Toulouse, and he's like a giraffe. I was out in the South African bush recently, saw lots of giraffes on the run. You know how giraffes they look like they're moving very slowly, but actually when, oh my goodness, they're flying rapid. That's Thibaud Flament in open field. I mean, one of the best broken field lock forwards in the world. I mean, he's played a lot of rugby wearing that number 7 jersey for France and Toulouse. Class player, 27 years of age, a lot of rugby ahead of him. He could well be moving back up this list. He's down a spot because Maro Itoje is up a spot. Maro is back. Now, that makes me very happy as an Englishman. I like to think on this channel that I keep it objective. Don't get me wrong, I'm proud of my country. I'm very proud to be English. I want my team to do really well. But I feel like I'm able to park that and be objective. So when I say this, I just want you to know. I think when I say this, I'm being objective. You can tell me if you think I'm being biased. Maro Itoje's on a march to the number 1 spot in this position. Is that biased? It feels like we've got our Maro back. There was a few years where he was like, he's not quite the player he was. He hasn't kicked on in the way we hoped he would. He's been an absolute menace in 2024. In the Six Nations, it was like, here we go. Maro's getting back to his best. 2 performances against New Zealand. Yeah, he gave away a couple of penalties in that second test. But on balance, the amount of work he did, the nuisance he made of himself in the loose, at the breakdown, in the line out, absolutely awesome. And if Maro Itoje carries on like that, he'll be number 1 on this list this time next year. That's if he continues as he is. Franco Mostert is at number 3. Such an unsung hero. Well, I say unsung hero. Again, when I was out in South Africa, I spoke to enough South Africans to know that he's not an unsung hero within South Africa. And he's not an unsung hero on this channel, because look, he's at number 3. But Eben Etzebeth is like the star name in the engine room for South Africa. Eben Etzebeth is only able to do what he does because of that guy. What an engine. Massive work rate. He does so much work and is a brilliant line-out forward. Has played in the number 7 jersey, just like Thibaud Flament and Cameron Woki. Plays in the back row and does brilliantly there as well. Athletic. Can put in an 80-minute shift when it's needed, and he never ever stops. He is a class operator. 33 years of age. That's the one little caveat. It does feel like South Africa need to start bringing through the new breed, because will he be involved in the next World Cup? Potentially, but if him and Eben Etzebeth are in the second row at the next World Cup, you've got 2 36-year-olds in, and I'm not sure about that. Let's see how Ruan Norkia gets on. He could be one of the guys that's on this list in the years ahead. Or like I say, Lou Diaka. As for the number 2, Scott Barrett is at number 2. Well, he's the captain now, and he's played double the matches for New Zealand than he did for the Double Dongs. Hardly played for Crusaders. I think that was one of the reasons why they were so bad. It's because a load of their best players hardly played for them. But when he plays for New Zealand, he plays 80-minute matches, and talk about work rate, talk about engines, talk about influence on matches. and if he can make sure the influence on matches is not brain dead penalties or yellow or red cards, which actually, do you know what? There was a red card and 2 yellows during the Rugby World Cup. He's been clean as a whistle since, and long may that continue for Scott Barrett. Class player, good leader. He's at number 2, and the only person that can trump Scott Barrett is one of my favourite rugby players in the world right now. Thibaud is an absolute machine of a rugby player. What a player. He does it all. Another player that's on this list, actually, who has played a lot of rugby in the back row, and it may well be when I do this list in the years ahead, I'll be shifting him across to the 6 jersey, because it did look like in that second test against South Africa, this feels like it might fit for Ireland, with Thibaud in the 6 jersey, James Ryan in the 5 jersey. It looked pretty good, but it says everything that Thibaud can do it all. Defensively, he's a warrior. Jackal at the breakdown, he's as good as any 7. Line-out operator, you won't beat him. He'll steal his fair share of line-outs. And he just never stops. He always looks like he's exhausted after 5 minutes, but then he just stays the same the whole way through. And if a game lasted 240 minutes, not 80 minutes, he'd still be going full on 239 minutes in. He is, I've already used the word, he's a machine. And I've got a lot of love for Thibaud as a rugby player. That is your top 10. Tell me what you reckon. Any names I've missed out? Any other names? I've mentioned Lou Diaka and Ruan Norkia that could be making their entry into the list. Any others? David Jenkins would be another one. Still early days for him, but he was. I was flirting with the idea of David Jenkins getting in. Not quite on this occasion, but any others? Let me know. Yeah, comments down below. Hit subscribe if you appreciate the content on the channel. Then give the video a thumbs up, and that helps. I don't know how it works, algorithms in it, but apparently it helps the word get out there. So yeah, do that. I'll see you on the next one. Oh yeah, so I'm releasing one of these videos every single day, 6 p.m. UK time, and that will make sure that you get to Friday the 9th of August, the day before the Rugby Championship starts, with at least one quality rugby video in your feed. See you on the next one.